Welcome, everyone, to the 29th discussion of the Smart World Around Us, brought to you by Smart EBU Hub. Today, we're doing a deep dive into a really critical piece of research, the article titled Counterfake, a scientific basis for a policy fighting fake news and hate speech.
That's right. And this is an important one. It's a study backed by the Congress of Local and Regional Authorities, and it looks at fake news and hate speech from, well, all the angles: policy, social impact, technology.
The idea is really to build a solid foundation, sort of a scientific basis for policies that can actually fight back against this stuff.
Exactly. It's about getting practical recommendations out there.
And just quickly before we jump in, you can find a link to the full article right there in the description below this deep dive.
Definitely worth a read.
So the headline finding really is that this kind of content, fake news, hate speech, it absolutely corrupts and distorts civic dialogue. No surprise there, maybe.
Right. But the key first step, the study argues, is really getting to grips with the nuances, understanding the language of deception itself.
It's true. Fake news and hate speech aren't exactly new phenomena, are they? People have been lying forever.
Forever. But what is new is the way social media spreads it. The speed, the reach. It's fundamentally changed the impact.
So how does the study break down this idea of fake? It goes back pretty far, doesn't it?
It does. It contrasts the classical Greek term pseudos, which meant something like hidden or camouflaged, implying, a clear intent to mislead.
Okay, so intent was key there.
Yes. And it contrasts that with the Roman term falsum, which is slightly different.
How so?
Well, falsum implies more of an absolute untruth, something that's determined to be false through a process, like establishing facts, proving the truth. It's less about the hiding, more about the objective falsehood.
That distinction feels really relevant today, that process of establishing truth.
It's absolutely crucial. And that focus on intent is what leads us to the modern definitions we really need now, especially online. The study lays out 3 key types.
Right, let's break those down.
Okay, first you have misinformation. That's false information, but it's shared without the intent to actually cause harm. Someone might just be mistaken or sharing something they haven't checked.
Okay, it was an honest mistake.
Pretty much. Then number 2 is disinformation. Now this is false, inaccurate, or misleading stuff that is spread intentionally on purpose, either to cause public harm or, just for profit.
That's the deliberate weaponization of falsehoods.
Exactly. And finally, there's malinformation. This one's interesting because it's actually true information.
True information. How is that harmful?
It's about the intent. Malinformation is true info shared specifically to cause harm. Think leaks of private data or using someone's past against them out of context. The information is real, but the purpose is malicious.
Got it. So misinformation, disinformation, malinformation. Intent is the key differentiator.
Precisely.
So let's shift from the definitions to the impact. This is where it gets quite stark, especially when you look at local and regional democracy. The study did an empirical survey.
Yes, among members of the Congress of Local and Regional Authorities. And the findings are, well, they're worrying.
What did they find?
They found that local politicians, mayors, local councilors, they're increasingly facing online hate speech and disinformation. And tragically, this isn't just online abuse. It can and does escalate into real-world physical danger.
The study mentions specific cases, right? Tragic ones.
It does. It points to examples like the assassination attempt on Mayor Henriette Reicher in Germany or the death of Mayor Paweł Adamowicz in Poland after targeted campaigns. These aren't abstract threats.
And the broader effect.
It creates this toxic atmosphere, fear, confusion. The study calls it a paralyzing effect on political life.
Paralyzing how?
It actually discourages people, ordinary citizens, from even wanting to stand for election. They see the abuse, the threats, and they think, why would I put myself through that? It fundamentally weakens local democracy.
Okay, so the problem is clear. The impact is severe. What about solutions? The study looked at hardware and software, I believe.
Yeah, hardware meaning the rules, the laws, and software meaning the skills, the resources, media literacy, that kind of thing.
And what's the verdict on the hardware, the legal and technical fixes?
Pretty sobering, actually. The conclusion is that technical and legal remedies are, frankly, quite limited.
Why is that?
Well, think about the internet. It's global, it's fast, it's largely unregulated compared to, say, how international postal services were historically managed. Laws often stop at national borders, but the information or disinformation doesn't. Enforcement is incredibly difficult.
So if tech and law are struggling, what is the main recommendation?
This is where it gets interesting. The study and the delegates surveyed, they strongly lean towards something more fundamental: transparency. More open government, more open data.
Transparency, how does that fight fake news directly?
The thinking is that it reduces the conditions that allow hate speech and disinformation to thrive.
Yeah.
If local government processes like budgeting, public contracts, policymaking are open and clear.
There's less suspicion, less room for conspiracy theories and targeted lies to take root.
Exactly. It improves trust and tackles the potential grievances that often fuel this kind of harmful content. It's about making democracy healthier at its core.
That's a really powerful idea. Shifting from just reacting to platforms to proactively strengthening the democratic system itself.
It's a systemic approach.
And we should definitely acknowledge the team behind this work. Sebastian Brueggemann, Nervin Kutlu, Robert Mueller-Turek, Alexander Prosser, Sylvia Ruchinska, Tomasz Sadecki, and Castellan Vrabie. Apologies if I mispronounced that last one. It's Castellan Vrabie and the other editors.
Absolutely. It was vital research. And, there's a fascinating connection here, maybe a final thought to leave people with.
Go on.
It kind of echoes that old proverb from Niccolo Machiavelli that a person who feels they've been treated unfairly will always find a way to seek fairness, or at least what they perceive as fairness. If you increase transparency, make processes genuinely fair, and be seen to be fair, you remove that feeling of grievance. You take away the fuel for the fire of fake news and hate speech that often claims to be seeking some kind of justice or truth.
So transparency isn't just good governance. It's actually a core defense mechanism in this information age. A really profound point. Well, that brings us to the end of this deep dive. Thank you so much for joining us. We really hope you found this insightful.
It's a critical topic for sure.
Please do like and subscribe to the Smart EDU Hub channel. That way you'll be the first to know when we release new deep dives. And as always, stay smart with Smart EDU Hub.
And don't forget, that link to the full Counterfake article is right there in the description below if you want to explore it further.